Heartwarming moment, lonely CEO millionaire discovers incredible way to save little girl's mom. Nathan Blake's high-rise office loomed above the bustling suburb of Chicago, a fortress of glass and steel that echoed the emptiness of his life. At 42, he had climbed the corporate ladder, earning millions, accolades en masse, and a title that seemed prestigious CEO of a thriving tech company. But today, the walls felt like they were closing in. As he stared out over the skyline, the view felt as hollow as the countless quarterly reports he had meticulously combed through. No family to share his success, no friends to celebrate with, just numbers, deadlines, and an aching void where connection should be. Driving home on a sweltering summer day, Nathan's mind spun in an endless loop of profit margins and expansion strategies. Suddenly, something caught his eye, a bright splash of color on the corner of the street. He slowed to a stop, his gaze fixating on a makeshift lemonade stand. A girl, no more than 8, stood proudly behind it, her infectious grin rivaling the blazing sun. Ella's eyes sparkled with determination, her little hands poised to serve up something more than just lemonade. They served up hope. $1 for the best lemonade you'll ever taste, she chirped, her voice ringing through the still summer air. With a tug at his heart, Nathan pulled out his wallet. That cup of lemony sweetness became an unexpected balm for his weary soul. As Ella shared stories of her day and rattled off the flavors just right for summer, something awakened within him, glee he hadn't felt in years. For those heartbeats in the heat, he was not a millionaire CEO but a man savoring a simple joy. Yet, the moment turned solemn when Ella's eyes dimmed, revealing a truth hidden beneath her bravado. Her mother, Sarah, was gravely ill, battling against the odds for an expensive procedure that remained just out of reach. The weight of her struggle hit Nathan like a cold wave. How many times had he brushed past people in pain while chasing metrics? How had he let ambition eclipse the simple truth that he was more than just a cog in the corporate machine? As he left, the call to action rang loud in his heart. Nathan decided to host a charity gala, intending to rally his team behind a cause that mattered. But as he pitched the idea, he was met with resistance. Charity? It's a distraction, grumbled the finance director, gesturing to the looming deadlines. Nathan's chest tightened. Did they really place profits above lives? I can't let this happen, he muttered, wrestling with his ambition and his humanity. He felt adrift in a sea of corporate indifference. He wondered if any of this meant anything without connection, without shared compassion. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just when sadness threatened to swallow him whole, sparks ignited within the office. A few employees, touched by Ella's story, stepped forward to help. Together, they spread the word, sharing Ella's courage and her mother's fight. But doubts lingered. What did true success mean? Life beyond the boardroom? Could Nathan mend his distance from his estranged family while he dared to touch lives in the community? As the charity event approached, a feeling of hope blossomed amidst the growing sense of unity. But just when Nathan thought he'd built something real, an announcement from the higher-ups threatened everything. Anxiety welled up, leaving him at a crossroads. Could he rise and seize this moment to be the man he truly wanted to be? Or would ambition, once again, eclipse his compassion? The night of the gala, the air hung heavy with tension, and all eyes bore down on Nathan, awaiting his decision. Would he choose the path of corporate survival or step into the light of humanity he so desperately yearned for? Under the shimmering lights of the gala, the atmosphere was electric yet fraught with unspoken tension. Nathan stood at the front of the room, his heart pounding as he took in the crowd. The elegant decor mingled with a palpable anxiety, a mix of glitzy anticipation and beneath the surface worry. Everyone was there, his employees, local business owners, all of them united for one purpose. But in that silence, Nathan felt alone, his mind racing with doubt. As he approached the microphone, he glanced over at Ella, nestled among her mother's friends at a table adorned with vibrant flowers. The little girl beamed back at him, and that smile struck a chord deep within him. It was the reminder he needed. For a heartbeat, he was lost in the warmth of helping someone beyond himself. He cleared his throat and spoke, his voice shaky at first before it steadied. Thank you all for being here tonight. You've chosen to stand behind something larger than any of us, the chance to save a life. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, some nodding in recognition as they connected with the story of Sarah, a story they had each helped craft by their presence. What he saw next knocked him back. Without warning, his finance director, Marcus, raised his hand, cutting through the hopeful air. Look, Nathan. This gala, we don't have the budget for this kind of risk. We've got to think about profits. Nathan interrupted, a fire sparking in his eyes. What good are profits if we don't use them to make a difference? Does that make us a successful company, or just a greedy one? His voice rose, filled with a passion he hadn't felt in ages. People shifted in their seats, surprised by the intensity he was projecting. He scanned the room, feeling the weight of their gazes. You're all here because you know deep down that this matters. Ella's mother matters. That's what being a part of this community means. Nathan saw nods and even a few tears glistening in the eyes of his coworkers. For a brief moment, he felt invincible. Then suddenly, the door swung open, and in walked Sarah herself, frail but radiant, as if she drew strength from the very air around them. Gasps erupted, and the room fell silent in awe. Ella rushed to her mother, arms tightly wrapped around her. In that moment, Nathan's heart raced again, but not with fear. Instead, he was flooded with a sense of purpose. This was at the turning point he had been searching for. Sarah's presence broke something within Nathan, a wall he didn't even know he had built. Seeing her fight against her illness, she had found the strength to show up, to be surrounded by the people willing to help. He took a deep breath and faced his audience again, the uncertainty replaced with undeniable conviction. Let us show Sarah that this community stands together. Tonight isn't just about raising money, it's about raising hope. Just as his words hung in the air, a sudden vibration rippled through the crowd. Whispers erupted, some attendees were texting, another group was standing, shouting encouragement. But one voice rang clearer than the rest. We'll match every dollar raised. It was a local entrepreneur, a woman with a track record of philanthropy, and the room erupted into applause. But amidst the cheers, Nathan felt the pressure of the impending announcement looming in the back of his mind. The board had been unhappy with his charity pursuit, they wanted a profit report on their desks by morning, and he knew they wouldn't accept the justification of tonight's efforts. Could he balance the demands of the corporation with the power of compassion? As excitement swelled in the room and Ella grinned wide, Nathan knew he faced a fork in the road. Would he chase the corporate ideal he had lived for so long, or embrace this wave of purpose and connection? The echo of Sarah's determination pushed him to act, but there was no guarantee. As the night continued, Nathan pondered one striking question: when push came to shove, which path would he choose to honor? The applause thundered in Nathan's ears like a heartbeat, syncopated with his racing thoughts. He watched Ella hold on to her mother, the sheer joy radiating from the two of them lighting up the room. But with every clapping hand, Nathan's mind wrestled with the shadows creeping in on his resolve. The board's expectations loomed large, and he felt the weight of it all threatening to drown out the hope that had just ignited within him. Keep it together, he whispered under his breath, rubbing his palms together as anxiety tightened its grip. But the overflowing joy in the room pulled him back. People around him were smiling, laughing, and connecting, dozens of hearts intertwining over one shared purpose. It was a beautiful picture, one he had never felt comfortable stepping into fully before, always safeguarding profits over feelings. Thank you. Sarah's voice, still weak but filled with gratitude, broke through his thoughts. Thank you all for being here. Your support means the world to us. Everyone leaned in, hanging on her words. Nathan felt the swell of emotion wash over him, a tear teasing at the corner of his eye. They were more than just a company here, they were a community, and every soul in this room felt the collective push towards something greater. His thoughts churned. Should he stay true to this moment? The warmth of connection beckoned him like a soft whisper he longed to heed. But as doubt clashed with hope, it brought him back to the reality ahead. The echoing demand for profit felt heavier than ever as he thought about how his mentor had trained him to chase numbers and accolades rather than purpose and impact. Yet, something in him had shifted. He could hear Ella's laughter, see the unfaltering light behind Sarah's eyes, and feel the tangible love from everyone around him. I have to risk it all, he murmured, finding clarity amidst the chaos. Ladies and gentlemen, he called out, stepping closer to the microphone. Tonight isn't just about furthering a cause. It's a reminder that we are all human, connected by our choices and our compassion. Let us take this opportunity to be more than a company that reports numbers. Let us be the beacon of change. A roar of approval reverberated through the crowd, and Nathan felt the walls he was battling against begin to crumble. Yes, change would require a fight, but it was one he was more than ready to take on. Before he could say more, Marcus shot him a look that could freeze fire. Nathan, think about what you're saying. The board will have our heads if you continue down this path. Let them, Nathan shot back, feeling an unfamiliar passion bubbling in his chest. I didn't start this company to create a legacy of profits. I want to leave behind something that matters. His words hung thick in the air, transformative and electrifying. Slowly, heads around the room began to nod, understanding dawning on their expressions. There was an energy now, a willingness to stand together for what was right. It felt like they were bonded by pure purpose, their hearts in sync, pushing against the tide of fear and uncertainty. And there it was, the realization that Nathan needed to lead with his heart. He looked back at Ella and Sarah, who were locked in a moment of connection, embodying everything he hoped to fight for. Please, he said quietly, let us move forward together. The crowd erupted into applause once more, but Nathan knew the hardest battle still lay ahead. As the night unfolded and plans for fundraising gained momentum, a mix of hope and dread settled in the pit of his stomach. Would the board understand? Would they embrace this new direction or hold fast to their cold, hard numbers? As Nathan watched Ella spin happily around with her mother, the question grew louder. Could compassion and corporate success coexist without tearing him apart? The night was only just beginning, and the stakes were higher than ever. Would he soon face a reckoning as the tides inevitably turned? Nathan stood at the edge of the stage, the applause still vibrating in his chest. Eyes flickered from smiling face to smiling face, each one igniting a fire of hope in him. But he couldn't escape the tightening sensation in his gut. As he stepped back from the microphone, Marcus hurried over, urgency written across his face. Nathan, this isn't just about good intentions. The board will see this as a threat. They want numbers, not feelings, Marcus hissed, his voice sharp. Nathan took a deep breath. Maybe it's time they realized feelings matter more than numbers. You might lose everything. Marcus urged, glancing pointedly at the crowd, drawing Nathan's attention back to the people who had come together in that room. He saw the connection between them, the warmth that spread like ripples, touching hearts and minds. It anchored him. Or I might gain everything, he responded, his voice firm. I've been living in a world of profit margins and bottom lines, but look at what we can create here. Real change. He waved towards the audience, where Sarah and Ella remained at the forefront, squeezing each other's hands, their faces radiant with hope. Just it's risky, Marcus said, his expression softening. Risky? Yeah, but maybe we can redefine that risk together, Nathan replied, feeling an energy he hadn't known possible. It was thrilling and terrifying, all wrapped into one. The event unfolded around him as conversation sparked like fireworks. People grouped together, sharing laughter, ideas, and dreams. Nathan stepped into the crowd, allowing the energy to wash over him. He found himself next to Sarah, who was carefully explaining their vision to another guest. The way her face lit up while she spoke filled him with a sense of purpose. After they wrapped up, he turned to her. "Sarah, how are you holding up?" "I'm just so grateful," she said, eyes shimmering with unshed tears. It felt like a dream to see people come together like this. "It's overwhelming, in a good way." "Your passion is contagious," he replied, genuinely impressed. In that moment, he realized that her determination wasn't just about her or Ella. It was about the community they could create, and he could lead. But the joyous atmosphere shifted slightly as Nathan learned that Marcus's warning bore weight. Throughout the evening, side conversations echoed the board's dissenting views. Whispers of profit loss and misguided decisions followed him like shadows. Later, Nathan stepped outside for a breath of fresh air, trying to clear his mind. The cool air bit at his skin, but it felt good compared to the heat inside. He leaned back against the wall, heart racing as he pondered the repercussions of his decision. Suddenly, Ella burst through the doors, her delight spilling over as she spotted him. "Mr. Nathan!" she exclaimed, running up to him, her hair flying. "Did you see? My mom is the best at telling stories. You're going to love them." Her excitement was infectious. "I'm sure I will. What's your favorite story she tells?" Ella paused, tapping her chin thoughtfully. "It's the one about the moon and the stars. It's magical." Her hands waved dramatically as if she were aligning the constellations right there in the night sky. Nathan chuckled, struck by her innocence and joy. "You know, I could use some magic right now," he admitted. "Then you have to listen. It's all about believing everything is possible, even when it seems hard," she said, her eyes wide with conviction. He felt a sense of warmth settle in his chest. "You really believe that?" "Of course. You wouldn't be here if you didn't believe," Ella said, her conviction unwavering. As her words echoed in his mind, Nathan recognized a shift. This wasn't just about him anymore, it was about every single person in that room, about Sarah, about Ella, and about the promise of a better future for them all. But as he turned back inside, a cold gust of wind carried a sense of foreboding. He couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. Would the board embrace this new vision, or would they shatter the dreams they had sparked together? Steeling himself, Nathan resolved to take that leap of faith. But the real question loomed in his heart: was he truly ready to challenge everything he'd built? The room buzzed with conversation as Nathan walked back inside. The energy from the crowd enveloped him like a warm blanket, but the doubts lingered like dark clouds overhead. He caught glimpses of Sarah and Ella animatedly discussing plans with others, their enthusiasm striking a contrast to the worry coiling in his stomach. He moved through the crowd, letting their laughter wash over him. But just as he felt strength from their support, Marcus's voice loomed in his mind, echoing warnings of the impending backlash from the board. If they felt threatened, they would move quickly to snuff out this flame before it could build into a wildfire. Nathan was drawn to Sarah, whose voice danced above the rest. "Together, we can turn this community into something beautiful," she said, her eyes igniting with every word. "It really can happen," Nathan said, believing it more every second. "We could finally show them how powerful connection can be." "Exactly." Sarah clapped her hands together. "But we need to prepare ourselves for pushback." She looked around, uncertainty creeping into her smile. The board won't like the change we're hoping to create. An empty feeling stirred in Nathan's chest. It was one thing to dream, another to know that those dreams could be shattered by those who only saw numbers. He wasn't just fighting for himself anymore, he was leading this group, and that responsibility weighed heavy. "That's why we're all here," he assured Sarah. "Let us run with this momentum. We're stronger together than apart." Suddenly, Ella appeared at his side, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "Mr. Nathan. Can you tell everyone my mom's story?" They need to hear it. Her eyes sparkled, and for a moment, the world around him faded, leaving only her keen spirit and that hopeful sparkle in her eyes. Nathan smiled and bent down to her level. Sure, but only if you help me out. I want everyone to hear about the magic that happens when we believe. As the gathered audience quieted, turning their attention to the two of them, Nathan felt the weight of their collective expectations. It was in this moment that a flicker of determination ignited. He was ready to fight. But would his courage be enough? Here's what Ella's mom always says, he began, glancing at Ella for encouragement. If you believe in something enough, and you chase it, then anything can happen even in the darkest of times. Gasps of surprise erupted from the crowd, followed by light chatter. Their eyes shone with hope, and for every game plan he had thought of, this felt more important. See? Ella exclaimed. This is how it all starts. Like when the stars come out one by one until the whole sky is sparkling. Her hands echoed the twinkling stars above, bringing laughter and warmth that cut through the tension of the evening. But as laughter filled the air, Nathan noticed a figure making its way toward him from the side, a stern expression bearing down on her face. It was Clara, the board member known for her cold gaze and even colder decisions. Good evening, Nathan, she said, her tone sharp. The crowd sensed the shift, anxious energy threading through their hearts. We need to talk. Can we step aside? Nathan's stomach nodded. He could have felt the enthusiasm of the crowd dissolve like mist. What would she say? Would he finally face the backlash that had lurked like a shark beneath this ocean of hope? His breath caught. Of course, but I hope you'll listen. He glanced at Sarah, who nodded, determination written all over her face. Nathan took a deep breath, preparing himself to face whatever was coming next. Was this the moment they would learn whether dreams could triumph over fear? Nathan followed Clara as they stepped away from the crowd. The buzz of excitement faded, replaced by a tense silence. He could feel the weight of her gaze. It was as if the air grew thick, pulling the energy right out of him. Thank you for bringing everyone together, Clara started, her voice clipped. But we need to talk about the direction of this project. She glanced back toward the group, then focused on him again. You're stirring up a lot of emotions, Nathan. But emotions don't pay bills or guarantee outcomes. Her words were like ice water, dousing the heat of his earlier courage. It felt like she was trying to tether his soaring hopes, grounding them back into cold reality. I get it, Clara, he replied, pushing down the urge to snap back. But what if we could quantify the impact of those emotions? This community, their connection, it can create value that's not just about numbers. Clara raised an eyebrow, skeptical. And what happens when their enthusiasm wanes? What do you have then? The question lingered in the air between them, a reminder of the fragility of their plans. Nathan looked over Clara's shoulder, catching Sarah's concerned expression across the room. He thought about Ella, her bright optimism igniting life into their dreams. He couldn't let Clara reduce their mission to a mere financial equation. We build something real, he replied, trying to hold confidence in his voice. You've seen the people tonight. They believe in this. The kind of change we're talking about is priceless. Clara folded her arms, assessing him. You think they'll stay with you when things get difficult? When their dreams start to feel unattainable? Those questions stung. Nathan felt the sting of doubt creeping back. What if she was right? He squared his shoulders. It's about more than just pushing through. It's about creating a legacy that feeds into itself. We have stories to tell, lives to change. Clara softened just a fraction, but her voice remained firm. The board sees risk, Nathan. You need to manage not just their expectations, but yours as well. You're not just a leader. You're also a visionary. Her words hung heavy in the air. He envisioned the joy of the community's togetherness eclipsed by the board's cold calculations. He could feel the reality of the situation pressing down on him. But what if their connection is the very thing that saves us? He blurted, desperation creeping into his tone. Their stories are what can show the board that this is not just a project, it's an opportunity to invest in humanity. She lowered her arms, considering. For a split second, Nathan thought he could see a flicker of understanding in her eyes, but it vanished just as quickly. You need to prepare yourself for all possibilities, Nathan, she said softly. You have to balance hope with pragmatism. Nathan nodded, though uncertainty spiraled in his stomach. I'll do whatever it takes. As he stepped back toward the crowd, he felt the weight of that promise settle on his shoulders. What could he say to them? Would he be able to keep that flame of hope alive in the face of the looming storm? But as he rejoined the group, everything shifted. Their faces were lit with excitement and determination. He caught Ella whispering to Sarah, her eyes wide with fervor. Taking a deep breath, Nathan raised his voice. What if I told you that our journey is just beginning? That even when faced with resistance, we are not alone. Cheers erupted around him, filling him with a renewed sense of purpose. Yet, even amidst the applause, a question gnawed at Nathan. Would dreams and hope be enough to stand against the cold, hard realities of the board? And somewhere in the background, he spotted Clara watching, her expression unreadable. Were they truly ready to face the coming challenges together as one? Nathan scanned the crowd, feeling the rising swell of energy around him. Faces close to him lit up, and whispers of excitement turned into louder voices. They were hungry for change, he could see it in the determination etched on their faces. He knew this was his moment, but the weight of uncertainty about the board hung heavily in his mind. He took a step forward, adrenaline spurring him on. We have opportunities ahead, but it won't always be smooth sailing. Together, we can build something that speaks to every heart in this community. The claps intensified. Sarah, with her infectious enthusiasm, led the charge, and soon Ella joined in, bouncing on the balls of her feet. This was where he belonged among those who shared his dreams, who believed in the potential of their plans. Yet, as their cheers washed over him, Clara's warnings echoed in his thoughts. What if their excitement faltered? What would happen when reality set in? He inhaled deeply, pushing those nagging doubts to the back of his mind. In that moment, he felt an energy shift in the room. A few voices grew bolder, challenging him. What's next, Nathan? We want to know how we can help. The call for action resonated within him. Let's create a series of workshops. We'll gather here every month, share our skills, stories, and experiences. We can support each other. A chorus of yes. And cheers filled the air, and Nathan felt the warmth of hope bubble within him like a rising tide. But even as determination surged in the crowd, shadows of uncertainty danced at the edges of his thoughts. Nathan? Ella's bright voice broke through his contemplation, piercing through the haze of enthusiasm and doubt. What if it doesn't work like we hope? What if the board says no? Her question was innocent, laced with fear and concern. It knocked the wind out of him. He looked at her, struggled to find the words. He wanted to offer her reassurance, but the flicker of trepidation in her gaze mirrored his own. He took another steadying breath. Even if we face setbacks, even if they doubt us, we have to keep moving forward. This is about more than just us. His voice rang out, stronger this time. It's about everyone out there, the stories nestled in our minds, the dreams in our hearts. We're building a legacy that will inspire hope in others. The crowd erupted again, swelling with renewed passion. He could see Clara out of the corner of his eye. She stood still, contemplating. Did she share in this feeling? Or was she still skeptical? As the energy surged, Nathan suddenly thought about the family at the heart of this, the little girl he overheard earlier, her mother struggling to keep the lights on and dreams alive. He cleared his throat. Let's make sure we touch every life in this community. Without money as an excuse, we can create opportunities for kids like her. The room went silent for a moment. Then, a single voice, an older man at the back, spoke up. And what about the funding? How do we get the board on board? A ripple of reality swept through the hopeful atmosphere, and Nathan felt that familiar weight drop back onto his shoulders. He wasn't done yet, though. We'll combine our strengths. With power in numbers, we'll show them just what they're missing. His words ignited another round of applause. It felt electric, filled with potential. But could he truly convince the board, especially if Clara remained doubtful? In that moment, he realized how fragile threads of hope could be. As the clamor settled, Nathan locked eyes with Clara across the room. What would it take to bridge the gap between their visions? Could he inspire her to see the beauty in this messy, daunting journey? Time seemed to suspend as he awaited her response, feeling the heartbeat of the crowd surrounding him. What if this was just the beginning of a long and complex journey? Would they find a way to unite their efforts despite their differences? Clara's gaze held a mix of skepticism and contemplation, and Nathan felt the tension thick in the air. The crowd, once roaring with enthusiasm, quieted as they awaited her reaction. For a heartbeat, he thought he could hear the collective pulse of the audience, thumping with hope and anxiety, mirroring his own. "Here's the thing, Nathan," Clara finally said, her words cutting through the silence. "It's not enough to rally the community. We need a solid plan, something actionable that the board can't ignore." Her voice, though firm, carried a tremor that hinted at her own apprehensions. He nodded, understanding her concern but feeling a spark of irritation too. "I know that. But we can't start from a place of fear. We have to show the board the passion, the urgency in our voices. We can paint a picture of what this could look like." Behind Clara, faces blended into an array of hope and uncertainty. She wasn't wrong, he understood that. But he felt something else too, a deep certainty that this was the moment to lean into vulnerability, to unite everyone with a common dream. Another voice chimed in, an older gentleman Nathan respected. "I think we can start by gathering stories. Real ones from our community. When the board sees the faces behind the project, they'll feel the weight of our needs. That's it." Nathan seized the moment, rallying the crowd again. "We gather stories of struggle and success, create a heartfelt presentation that shows how the community has come together even in tough times. That's our strength." Cheers erupted once more, but Nathan's mind raced ahead to what lay beyond those cheers. What if their stories weren't enough? What if the board turned them down outright? The stakes felt higher than they ever had before. "Maybe we should also get people to write to the board, create a campaign," Sarah suggested, her eyes shining bright with possibility. "A letter-writing initiative. It could show the board how many of us are invested in this." Yes. The enthusiasm was infectious, and soon a flurry of ideas bounced around the room. Nathan could feel the spirit of hope reigniting. The energy shifted again, sparking more contributions. A plan was forming. Just when Nathan thought they were gaining momentum, Clara raised her hand. "Wait. It's great to gather stories and support, but what about funding?" Her concern brought back the weight of reality once more. Nathan took a breath. "We will brainstorm ways to fundraise. We can hold events, create a GoFundMe page, anything that shows we're serious, that we won't give up easily. I can call the local businesses for sponsorships," Ella chimed, her excitement cutting through Nathan's lingering doubt, making him smile. The pace quickened and excitement surged, but deep in Nathan's gut, a familiar tightness lingered. As the ideas flew about the room, he couldn't shake the thought of the board's resistance. What if it wasn't enough? What if their efforts got lost in the noise? He looked for Clara again, searching for a sign of her support. She was listening intently, her brow furrowed as if weighing every word spoken. Could she see the potential in all this? "Whatever happens," Nathan said, his voice steady. "We have to promise each other that we'll stick together, no matter the outcome. It's not just about the board. It's about us, this community, and the future we want to build." Their eyes flicked back to him, and the energy shifted yet again. There was vulnerability here but strength too. As he spoke, Nathan realized he was not just asking them to rally behind an idea but beneath a shared vision, one that could very well transform their community. As he took a moment, letting the words linger, he saw hope reflected in the faces surrounding him. But in the back of his mind, Clara's voice echoed a stark reminder that this journey would be littered with challenges. With a heart full of hope yet burdened by the question, Nathan wondered again, would they truly manage to unite, push past their fears, and rise to the occasion? The moment stretched, and with one last look at Clara, he asked himself, it was just the beginning, but at what cost? How many sacrifices would they need to make along the way? The room buzzed with energy, but the murmurs gradually faded as Nathan caught Clara's eye. He sensed her reservations lingering like clouds on a sunny day, dimming the brightness of their newfound resolve. "We need to start now," she said, and for a moment, Nathan could see the flicker of hope fighting through her skepticism. "Let us meet after this, gather a dedicated team. We can't afford to wait." Nathan took in the atmosphere, faces eager for change, animated conversations filled with possibility. He felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. People were ready to stand up, ready to fight for their community. They really were in this together. "All right. How does this sound?" He clapped his hands, pulling their focus. "Let us split into teams. One for gathering stories, another for fundraising, and a third to handle communication with the board. This is our chance." Excited nods surrounded him. In that moment, a wave of determination smoothed out his doubts. The weight of expectation seemed lighter, they were stepping towards something greater. As they broke into groups, Nathan caught Clara's gaze once more. Her expression softened, and he felt that connection, they were partners in this mission. He could see that her heart, although guarded, was beginning to swell with the same hope that fueled his own. Their first meeting concluded, and Nathan felt a flutter of pride. He wandered toward the exit, barely noticing as a few others lingered to finalize plans. He could hear bits of conversation, snippets of laughter, and even the sound of Ella trying to rally everyone for a bake sale. Every little effort, every mention of helpers, lit him up inside. Yet, as the crowd dispersed, his thoughts turned back to reality's weight. While ambition soared, so did the risk of failure. The board's cold rejection was still fresh in his mind. What if all this energy were to go unnoticed? He shook his head. No more doubts. They would not give up without a fight. That evening, Nathan found himself seated at the local diner with Clara, nursing a cup of coffee that had grown cold. The warmth of the surrounding chatter filled the air, but an uneasy silence settled between them. "Look, Clara," he started, trying to bridge the growing distance he felt. "I know we have a mountain to climb. But we're onto something here. I feel it." She finally met his gaze, her eyes steady but searching. "I want to believe you. But hope alone won't get us the funding we need. We might not get the time we think we have." His heart sank. "You believe we should challenge ourselves to reach for this dream, don't you?" "Of course," but she faltered, picking at the rim of her cup. "I just don't want us to put in all this effort, this heart, and have it shattered." Nathan lifted his hand, squeezing hers for support. "We'll make it. If we stick to the plan, gather those stories, shoot for those funds, we can show the board what we truly are, a community united." The intensity of her grip surprised him, a flicker of hope igniting in her eyes. They exchanged a moment of understanding, and for the first time, he saw her worry transform into determination. Before they left, they wrote down their plans, thoughts circling like fireflies around the dark. They would return to the diner every week, not just for coffee but to hold each other accountable. Each meeting a small victory against despair. When Nathan walked back to his car, excitement took hold again, visions of the village coming alive in his mind. Yet in this newfound hope, one thought loomed larger than all: was their vision even achievable? As he revved the engine, Clara's voice echoed, a steady reminder, "We can't hold back what we fear." With that thought, he realized that every step forward would demand courage. And in that realization, a new question burned: how much courage would the community have when faced with setbacks? Would they stand together when the pressure really turned up? The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow through the diner's windows as Nathan parked himself in front of the hastily arranged meeting table. Tonight, they were holding their first community planning session, an evening dedicated to sharing stories and brainstorming ways to support each other. Hopes swirled like fireflies in his chest. Sarah and Ella were already there, a burst of sunshine in the corner of the room. Ella's laughter rang out, her little voice a beacon of optimism. It reminded Nathan of the day he first met her, the day everything changed. His heart swelled with gratitude for that fateful lemonade stand. "Mr. Nathan." Ella squealed as she bounded over, nearly tripping in her excitement. "We're ready to share Mom's story." Nathan bended down to match her enthusiasm. "I can't wait to hear it, kiddo. But first, let us get everyone settled." As the room filled, he saw familiar faces, friends, neighbors, and even strangers, all coming together in a cause greater than themselves. He felt the energy crackle, igniting hope. It was a beautiful sight, and every smile lifted him higher. "Okay, everyone, take a seat. I'm thrilled to see so many of you here," Nathan called out, clapping his hands to grab attention. "Tonight is about connection. We're going to share stories, your stories of what this community means to you." One by one, familiar voices emerged from the crowd. A local teacher shared her struggles, recounting how she fought to create safe spaces for her students. A shop owner spoke of building resilience through tough times. Each story washed over him like a tide, pulling them closer together. Nathan felt alive between them, their laughter, their tears, their truth fueling his passion. And just then, Sarah stood up, taking a deep breath. "I want to share something close to my heart. The fight I'm having with my illness is easier when I have all of you around me. Your support has lifted me when I needed it most." Quietness fell, the intensity of her words wrapping around them. Ella squeezed her mother's hand, her small fingers a reminder of the bond that could be forged. Nathan blinked against the tears gathering in his eyes. This connection was what mattered. As the evening unfolded, a local graphic designer stepped forward with an idea. "We can create flyers using these stories that speak to our mission. Let us show the board why they can't ignore us." The crowd hummed with excitement, nodding, throwing out ideas like popcorn exploding in the microwave. "Social media campaigns," another voice exclaimed. "Let us engage the online community in sharing our journey. We need them to understand how important this is." The energy burst like fireworks. Together, they brainstormed, giggling and shouting over one another. Nathan felt the realization wash over him: this was what he'd always wanted. Change driven by passion, empathy, and togetherness. The executives upstairs could keep their spreadsheets, they were building something extraordinary here. As the clock ticked further into the evening, plans were starting to take shape. Nathan watched as Sarah and Ella huddled together, faces alight with determination. He knew the board was still lurking, a storm waiting to drown this beautiful moment in cold statistics. But this night was magic. Just when euphoria peaked, Nathan's phone buzzed on the table, an urgent email notification. He swiped it open, and his heart dropped. It was from Clara, detailing an emergency board meeting. They intended to review his plans to include emotional outreach and community involvement, a waste of resources, they said. The words stabbed through him like ice. But as he looked around, something solidified within him. The faces of everyone gathered painted a picture of what mattered. He couldn't turn back now. He couldn't betray the hope they'd all built together. "Listen, everyone," Nathan called, gripping the edge of the table to steady himself. "We have a hard road ahead. The board is meeting soon, and they might not understand what we're doing. They might see all this as just another publicity stunt." Gasps of surprise rippled through the room, uncertainty flashed over familiar faces. But he took a deep breath, pushing through the doubt. But I can't let that stop us. What we're doing is special. It's real and powerful. Ella raised her little hand. Mr. Nathan, we can show them. We just have to believe. Her fierce conviction struck a chord. That's it, Ella. We need our community to shine through. With renewed confidence, everyone rallied. Nathan felt the urgency escalate, but so did the excitement. After hours filled with laughter, camaraderie, and determination, they emerged from the diner, stepping into a crisp night. The path ahead was lined with challenges, but Nathan was ready to fight for this community, fending off shadows with the light they had kindled together. Standing with Sarah and Ella, he allowed himself a moment of hope. No matter what tomorrow brings, I will stand by all of you. Every step we take together. We'll write those letters, share those stories, and we won't back down. Agreed. Rang out from the crowd, a chorus of voices uniting. As Nathan walked away from the diner, he could feel anticipation, and slightly anxious hope coursing through his veins. The fight had just begun, and he was determined it wouldn't end with him. Their journey into the unknown had lit a fire, and together, they would rise. This was not just a plea to the board. It was a rallying cry that proclaimed who they were and what they believed in, a belief so strong, it could shake the foundations of the tower built by digits and margins. It was time to let the world see what the heart of a community truly looked like. When morning came, they would stand strong together, ready for anything. And with that, Nathan promised himself this was just the beginning. Now, everyone listening, take action. You need to subscribe now, so you won't miss the next chapter in this incredible journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment your feelings down below about this journey and share this video with at least 5 friends who need to believe in the power of community. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Let's light up the world with hope and action together.